Hi everyone, welcome to Education Alchemist YouTube channel. It's been 18 months since the first peer enhanced e-placement, and Dr. Lisa Taylor and Professor Julie Salmon have been working together on the PEEP acquisition experiences with 64 placement teams, helping them to adapt and adopt the PEEP model of online placements. This YouTube video is a conversation between Julie and Lisa about emergent and wider benefits of PEEP.
Okay, Julie, we've been working for almost 18 months together now. And obviously the first peer enhanced e-placement back in the start of the pandemic was delivered on the virtual learning environment via the laptops, wasn't it? The students were using their laptops and accessing the information by then. How accessible do you think PEEP is more widely?
Well, there's nothing wrong with using the laptops if it suits people. But even before the pandemic, there was a dramatic increase in the use of smartphones and tablets. And the work at home ethos has really increased that even more. So I think as we go forward on the PEEP, it is really important that they are accessible in sense of mobility. In the UK, at least, the actual use of smartphones is super high, well over 90% ownership. And also when we look at healthcare and other professions, their iPads and the like in use. So I think it is important to use the virtual learning environments, but make sure that they're responsive and make sure there's apps so that people can take part where they like, when they like, and in short periods of time as well, which makes it better for those people who've got a range of other responsibilities.
I think as well, you talk about the accessibility, about how the initial one was on the virtual learning environment. We've had experience since, haven't we, of them being led by clinicians working in trusts. So it's about that accessibility that has been shown to be true for the PEEP in relation to where it's led by. The original PEEP was led by academics within the higher education institute environment, whereas actually now we're seeing them either a hybrid model or then actually being delivered within trusts themselves for students. I suppose that wider within health and social care, we call it telehealth, where people are able to link with service users via virtual means is really important, and also that digital literacy is really important, isn't it? As you say, that it's changed hugely over the last 18 months, hasn't it?
Well, it probably always was, but I mean, there's quite a lot of evidence that the move towards using technology for patients, for clients across the board has rapidly accelerated. There's some authorities saying by 5 years over the pandemic. And I think whoever we are, learning and development, in universities, we really do have a responsibility to deliver our education in a way that's setting students up for quite long careers where digital is going to be fully embedded. And so I think PEEP does bring something a bit special in that respect.
So then thinking a little bit more widely about that sort of universality of PEEP, I don't know if you remember that Saturday morning when I got in contact with you quite early, having read your work the previous Friday night and being quite excited, thinking, oh, I really do think that the 5-stage of learning model that is renowned across the world now, that I thought, oh yeah, this really does reflect the learning that the students had reported. And you, when I talked through the PEEP, the way that the PEEP was structured, the timetable structure, you could instantly recognise the 5 stages of learning within that learning design that I'd done for the PEEP. We've obviously worked a lot over the last 18 months together, and can you just talk through how you think that work that we've done has really maximised the learning design principles that are within the PEEP and what the PEEP has sort of evolved into?
Well, I think it's a bit of joy that you had used the 5-stage model inadvertently to start with, But it was, the research was a grounded model, so it was looking at what people did with the opportunities rather than it being a theory that was then applied. And in particular, it's about the promotion of peer learning and students working together and what their human intervention needs to undertake in order to make it work. So I think that has been super helpful, and we've been able to teach it to all of the staff on our PEEP learning experiences as we've tried to encourage them to adapt and adopt and deliver. So the fact it was embedded from the start has really been extremely helpful. But it's a bit more than that. I think we've also helped people to understand that the better you can design using well-rehearsed models in advance of the students coming in, the more likely it is to be successful when you deliver it, the more likely it is to be a quality student experience. And I think there's been a lot of learning about that you put the work in early, and then it pays off over time. And we do talk about universal design now as well. In other words, we're trying to accommodate all comers. In that sense, I think accessibility, inclusivity and universality all go together. And I think we did roll as much as we possibly could into the PEEP model.
I think you're absolutely right, and certainly about that designing and really focusing on that design early on, moulded around those learning outcomes that you're wanting the students to achieve. So they've all got that purpose, that common purpose that then drives them through that learning experience together. And we talk about the design once and deliver multiple times, don't we, for that sort of longer term gain of that heavy investment that there often is in getting that design right at the beginning. But then it's just about tweaking it for subsequent cohorts who might just need minor adaptations for whatever reason. Getting that design right is key, isn't it?
I think when we were doing workshops, some people thought that was a bit shocking, you know, to design once, deliver many times. But of course, now it's rolling out. We're actually seeing the scalability and the sustainability of it all, and that's happening in your university as well, isn't it?
I mean, we've done our second occupational therapy PEEP now. It's more of a hybrid model, so Higher Education Institute and the practice partners working together, really maximising the use of the model and how we can adapt and adopt it accordingly. And what we've got our course review coming up for occupational therapy, and what we're now going to have is the PEEP as part of that placement portfolio that the students will experience. All students for that programme will then be able to experience a PEEP, just because of the value that has come from not only the initial PEEP but all of the subsequent PEEPs that have happened across the UK since we've heard back from that have come back with the same positive emergent benefits for the students.
So are you actually saying you're going beyond health then here?
Yeah, we're continuing with the occupational therapy ones longer term, but we're also working more widely with colleagues in the university. So I'm working with careers colleagues and senior leadership within employability to develop a generic PEEP, which all students from the university can opt into, to then be able to experience those key employability attributes that employers are saying placements are essential, but the actual employers coming forward to offer the placements don't necessarily match that enthusiasm that the employers come up with about placements. But there is a recognition of some really key generic employability attributes and skills that can be developed through placement experiences. And I think
is it possible just to check whether, you know, an employer that might not be able to have a student over a period of time actually embedded physically with them might be able to contribute to an online placement?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go on to say that very same thing, Gilly. You read my mind. Is that universities do already have existing partnerships with employers, obviously, but perhaps some of the reason why employers don't always come forward to offer placements is because it's a heavy investment of time. Whereas the PEEP does offer the opportunity to commit to shorter amounts of time, which means that you might well find that the employers would be a bit more forthcoming to offer a placement experience for the students through the PEEP. It's delivered virtually so that you don't have to travel or anything like that. But also it might then strengthen some of those partnerships that there is already, and that would then help that longer term partnership with the employers as well, but also give the students a bit of a taster of multiple employers. At the moment, if students go on, I don't know, a year-long industry placement, they might just get the experience with one employer, whereas actually the PEEP, yes, it's a shorter period of time, but actually students might be able to get a taster of multiple employers through the PEEP, which will then give them a flavour of different employers, what different employers might be able to offer, but also employers to get access to more students as well. So I think, it could be something that would really help with that sort of sustainability and scalability as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great example. If you've got a well-rehearsed model that's been well tried out, that you can then scale it. I also like the idea of going from practice, what started off with you doing some emergency teaching, that's turned into something that's become policy in the university now. I'll tell you what I also like about it is that when we started doing the peer enhanced placements, we actually noticed that we could get through a much wider range of case studies that they could possibly do, if they were in a clinical environment. And now you're saying really it's even more diverse, more multidisciplinary, more looking, giving students real career choices, actually. So
yeah, and you say about it being part of the policy that is now embedded within the University of East Anglia employability and placement strategy. And what we're looking at doing is developing the PEEP where you can get students from different backgrounds bringing all of their diverse range of backgrounds together, and then working in teams to draw upon their areas of excellence and their strengths to really maximise that peer enhanced aspect that the PEEP supports.
Yeah, so it's a good job. So hi everyone again who are watching. We'll put some links and some more examples of all of this if you're interested. But it's a great job, Lisa, on all of this. And
thank you. It's been great working with you. Yeah.
Let's hope it goes forward even more. So bye for now, everyone.
Bye-bye.